violations have in front of the Supreme Court, and it'll be figured out there.
And Josh, we should note, you mentioned the name of Commissioner Clyburn in passing. Mignon Clyburn is the daughter of South
Correct.
Carolina Democratic Congressman Jim Clyburn. So some family influences at work, or at least some family connections when it comes to connecting the internet. What do you think the long-term goal is in this so-called net neutrality, Josh?
Well, I think that the long-term goal is to possibly quell the dissent of people like myself, people like you, that disagree with the government overreach, disagree with the Obama administration. And again, when you think about it now, the government and the left now runs and controls the internet. So what's to say that in the future they couldn't curb more free speech? Maybe there's certain things that they don't like. There's certain websites that they want to block. One thing that I think is going to happen is you're going to see the internet slow down. You know, you are going to see this internet slow down quite a bit, probably in about 90 to 120 days, as I said on a couple of other shows here recently. So again, as one of the commissioners said, this was a problem that didn't exist and a solution that won't work.
Ideological in part, economical, or the economics of this likewise playing a part in it. There's a commercial that's made its way around the airwaves, and certainly from one cable company. Let's take a listen and get your reaction to this.
How do you make life online better for more people? You start by extending net neutrality protection to more Americans. You make the network faster, more secure, and more reliable. That's what we're committed to do, together. Comcast and Time Warner Cable. Together is better for more people.
So there is Comcast, who we thought heretofore was an opponent of net neutrality. And on top of that, you got a situation with Netflix. Its chief financial officer, David Wells, said at a regulatory industry event that he had hoped for a non-regulated solution. So really, what's going on here? Internet millionaires versus internet billionaires?
I think that's one way to put it, certainly. I believe, look, if you look at some of the other things that have happened with this administration, there's been big payoffs, there's been big people that have been lobbying for certain different things. For instance, our group, AMAC, we are the conservative alternative to AARP. AARP got $2.8 billion in subsidies and had their members released from being part of Obamacare. So in this case, you know, I think what happens is when the government and or the left wants to pass something, they give it a cheerful, nice, sweet sounding name like net neutrality or Affordable Care Act or, you know, the Respect for Marriage Act. And so I think that it's in the language of how they go about trying to get things to pass. I was on another show, and my colleague on the other side of the aisle said that the youth were for it. They were all in supportive of net neutrality. But again, I don't believe that they understood the depths and the details. And we don't truly know all the devilish details because they're holding back those details because they don't want people to know those details. I know that they're going to release them here soon. But even the other commissioner said that once those details are released, it's worse than you even think.
So Josh, let me ask you, less than 2 minutes remain. You mentioned your affiliation with AMAC. What does this do specifically to America's seniors?
Well, I'm not necessarily sure it's going to affect the seniors in a lot of ways, other than the fact that it's going to slow down the internet overall. Because now you have, excuse me, ABC website that no one's ever clicked on, no one's ever heard of, is now supposedly going to be just as fast as the majority of the content providers, Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, things of that nature. And so what they're doing is they're trying to take away the capitalistic, avenue of the internet and turn it into, spread the wealth around, more like socialism on the internet. And so I think by doing that, by trying to, quote, level the playing field, it's going to slow down the internet quite a bit.
And we only have a minute left, but what happens out of this ruling from the FCC? Do you expect Congress now to take some sort of legislative action?
Well, they have talked about defunding the FCC together. They've talked about maybe even trying to defund it on other appropriation bills and things of that nature. But I think it's going to be just like the Republicans just did. They're going to punt it to the courts as they just did with executive amnesty, which is, again, is a grave miscalculation. And they may end up doing the same thing here. The FCC has had numerous rulings in front of the Supreme Court, most of which have been turned down. So maybe this will follow in that suit.
And on that note, Josh Bernstein, we thank you for your analysis of net neutrality that in the final analysis is not neutral at all. Thanks for Skyping in from Arizona. America's Forum will continue right after this Newsmax Now update.